Okay, guys, we are live today. I am with Alberto.
Hey, Rob.
How you doing?
Good, man.
Trigger Points. This is episode 15, and we are with the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that's only been in real estate 1 year.
Yes.
Just had your anniversary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
you are killing it, like absolutely killing it.
We're doing well, I'll tell you.
You are doing very well, and that is something that is very unique. But I want everybody to figure out or try to find out how or what got you to this point. So the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got here.
Right. So, I was born on September 4th. Not that far back. Okay.
I mean, you can go that far back. I mean, we only have an hour, but
Right.
better catch up quick.
Right. Well, I mean, I do want to reference how I grew up because I think that's super important. I grew up down on the east end of Galveston, and my parents worked a lot. They worked a lot. They got divorced when I was at a young age. So, there were two homes there, but we had things like we never did without, but we didn't go out to eat. We didn't go on vacations. We didn't do those kinds of things. We just, money was for bills, for food, for clothes. And that was pretty much it. So, we were blessed that we had those things. And my father really taught me like this work ethic, right? You work for what you want in life. And I saw him working really hard down on the wharves in Galveston. And I just knew that I had to be a hard worker. And I started with selling papers when I was like 12 or 13 years old, and accumulating cash and things like that. But I bought into this idea that a lot of us buy into is you work your whole life until you're about 60, 65 years old, retire with hopefully enough money, right, to last you until you die. And then a lot of times we work so hard until we're 60, 65 years old that we can only enjoy it for another 10 or 15 years. So our employers, who we work to, build them up with money, they get all the best part of our lives, right? And we get like the last 15 years that we can then do what we want to do, So that's how I thought I had to live my life. And,
like everybody else.
Just like everyone else, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, to each person has to do their own thing. So, as I entered my 40s, I met my wife. We got married in 2017, and she's awesome at managing money.
Yeah.
And again, growing up, I managed money okay, but not that well. And so she had this idea, like, let's pay off our debt. We didn't have a ton of debt, but vehicles, right? Everybody pretty much has a car note. Right, a couple credit cards, some old student loan stuff. And she said, why don't we put our stuff together? Let's game plan and let's pay the stuff off.
Let's get rid of it.
Let's get
it off the table.
Right. And I wasn't even thinking about real estate at that time. I was just thinking like, okay, cool. Like we'll have a little bit more extra cash if we do that. So we started following Dave Ramsey. Okay. And I know you've heard of him.
I have.
Yeah. We started this snowball method, right, of starting to pay off one credit card. Like we bought furniture. We had some debt. We had about $133,000.
No, which is
and that includes two vehicles.
That's
right?
typically normal.
Yeah. And within about 2 years, we started in 2019. In 2021, just May of this year, we paid off the last debt, which was my vehicle. Mm-hmm. And the way we were able to actually do that was through real estate. Okay.
I got to hear this story.
Yeah. So we started in 2019, 2020, the pandemic hit. Everybody knows, right? Well, we were accumulating cash and paying off things at that time. We were a year into our journey. And I was a little fearful that I might lose my job, and that's a lot of fear a lot of people had. Actually, a lot of people lost their jobs.
And they still have that to this day,
right? To this day. So I told Julia, I was like, why don't we pause this debt payoff and let's start putting some money in the bank? Like, what if something happens? What if you lose your job? What if I lose my job? We need to be able to pay the mortgage, pay the rest of the bills that we still have, right? Put food on the table. So we started accumulating cash pretty quickly because we had already paid off a lot of debt. We refinanced our house, which was, we got the escrow out of that. So that was helpful. And we accumulated about $20,000 to $25,000.
Okay.
Sitting in the bank, right? A friend of mine who was flipping houses after Harvey, he was on Facebook all the time with his houses that he was flipping. I reached out to him. He gave me a little bit of advice. one key point was he told me about hard money lenders.
Uh-huh.
And at that point, I was calling up banks, and banks, investment homes, they want you to put 25% down. It's like, okay, well, this is what we can afford for one house, right? And I started talking to somebody over there at Jet Lending, Mark, and he was telling me about y'all's terms. I'm like, okay, all right. And I said, but you guys can fund the entire purchase of the house and the rehab. And he goes, yes, if it falls within these parameters, we'll fund 100%. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So started looking for properties, and I was just getting frustrated, and I wasn't really putting in the daily action. I was just kind of looking on the MLS. I didn't even know what a wholesaler was at the time either. And that was 2020, about August. And I saw a video that you posted. It was one of these flybys, right? Where you go out to one of your investors and you take a look at their project, get a status on it. And you did one on Ehab Chokri, right?
The great Ehab Chokri.
Right. Rehab with Ehab.
I
need to change my name to something that's awesome. But anyway, I reached out to him through the Bigger Pockets website. You know, a lot of these investors know about biggerpockets.com. And he immediately replied and said, what's your number? Let me call you. So I remember it, man. It was on a Sunday afternoon in August. He called me and we talked for about an hour. And he just wanted to know, like, what are your goals? You know, what do you know? Like, what do you want to do? How do you want to use real estate to reach those goals? And he started talking to me about financial independence, you know, and financial freedom and true freedom, right? True financial freedom, which is, you know, I asked myself, if I wanted to move to California or move to Colorado, to the mountains, right? Mostly everyone has to say, well, I need to get a job over there, right? I need to find a job. I need to get things in order, right? But imagine being so free that you can move wherever you want, no matter what you did, right? You didn't have to find a job because you've got this passive income that's coming in, that's paying for all your expenses. Being able to go on vacation, being able to take your entire family and their kids on vacation. We're talking like Clark Griswold kind of stuff, right? I mean, that costs money.
It does.
It costs money.
It does.
Right. And so those are like some dreams that I was having in my head. I was like,
so let me stop you just a second. What caused you to have those dreams? Is it job frustration, the 9 to 5? What caused you to get to the point? I know you said you wanted to pay off debt, but what got you to the point of I've got to do something a little different here?
So, you know, when we started talking about accumulating this cash, and I reached out to my friend Jaime, who was flipping houses, I found the Bigger Pockets website and I started listening to podcasts. And again, it's about what you put into your brain, right? You read nonfiction books or you read fiction books, right? And so I started hearing about these people that were financially, this FIRE movement, right? Financially independent, retire early, in their 30s. I mean, and they were traveling the world, they were doing things, they were giving back to the community, they were doing all these things, and they didn't have a job to report to. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then, you know, I had to ask for a day off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's people think that's very trivial, right? But you're controlled by that. Like, your job has control over the day that you can take off. You have a certain number of sick days that you can take off. Certain number of vacation days.
This is true. I know this better than anything, especially military. Like, you had to put in a requisition request this thick just to get, you know, your time off, even though you earned it.
Right.
Like, it had to get approved.
You have to ask for it.
You have to ask for it. It's just like every time I'm like, and at one point in time of my military career, it was my leave was denied because we were going to the field, and I was like, well, you know, I've got this family event, and they said, you got to be here.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, I've got friends that are very successful, you know, in their careers, and they can manage that time off for themselves, but you know, that's just not me.
Yeah.
And so working 25 years in the same industry, and, you know, again, I've done well in my career, but I still report to someone.
Yep.
And I've got to ask. Now, 99% of the time it's approved, but just the act, I've got to ask, and that's control. Right. So that was just playing in my head, man. And thinking that I don't want to have to ask to take a day off. I want to be able to take vacation. I want to be able to do these things and enjoy like this bigger part of my life that's left, instead of working for someone else, bringing in their income until I'm 65 years old, and then hoping that I live another 10 or 15 years.
Hoping.
Yes.
And enjoying that last part.
Yeah. So, and that all those thoughts came by listening to podcasts, by reading books, by just trying to figure out this real estate thing.
Okay.
Because a lot of people in real estate, they get into it because they want to be able to achieve this financial freedom, this financial independence. And that's what Ehab and I talked about that Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
And, Ehab, you come to find out we're 3 days apart, 4 days apart. We're the same age, right? We're the same age, 4 days apart.
Y'all both just turned, what, 35?
We're 36, but I won't ding you for that one. So, right. So we found that out, and we were both in the IT industry for about the same amount of time. And he left his job in about 5 years through real estate. I'm like, okay, I wonder if I can do it in 3 years. So that's pretty much been my goal for the past year.
That's a line in the sand.
That's a line in the sand. Is actually, I set that goal in April of this year. So I gave myself 36 months, and I am 31 months away from that date.
Okay.
And it's a big goal, right? Yeah. It's a big goal. It's not impossible. And then the deals just started coming. After I met Ehab, I joined his program, and the first lesson he teaches you is about your mindset. And that's super important, right? I mean, people would think, well, why didn't he teach you how to flip a house, or how to, do a renovation, or how to get money, right? Because it all builds upon this foundation of your mindset. Right? What are you doing on a daily basis to reach your goal? And my job, which is, I'm very thankful for it because it's allowed us to do these things. I'm thinking I can't work that job for very long and continue to build this empire, right? This wealth. And people tell me, I kid you not, Rob. People tell me, why are you saving so much money? You can't take it with you. I was like, you're right. I can't take it with me, but I can leave it for someone. I can leave it for future generations. I can build something for them.
I posted something on Facebook last night. I've never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse.
Right.
It's not how much you have, it's what you do with what you have.
Exactly.
That's the difference in mindset of, successful people and people that just accumulate junk.
Mm-hmm.
I have all this stuff.
Right.
What are you doing with it? What better good are you doing with that money, that knowledge, whatever you have? You've got to have the right mindset in anything you approach. It's just like we talk about working out. There's people that go to Planet Fitness, and then there's people that work out. Right. No offense to you Planet Fitness people out there, but
they've got good pizza there.
They do. And what is it? At the front desk they have Tootsie Rolls.
Tootsie Rolls, yeah. I think Donut Days.
Donut Days. Yes.
I mean, I just heard. I don't know experience, but yeah. I mean, you're right. And so that's what he taught us. Like the first lesson was about mindset, and I kid you not. Again, Rob, like 2 weeks after I started his program, maybe even a week after. I had put out on Facebook and social media, like, I'll pay you $1,000 if you find me an off-market property and we close on it. And like the next day, a friend just tagged me in a post, just typed my name, pressed enter. I got the notification. And again, from having Ehab on that first lesson of mindset, I called the wholesaler. Actually, I messaged him through social media because I was still a little timid. I didn't really want to talk to somebody on the phone. Messaged him, and that first deal was in Galveston, and he only had like 1 or 2 pictures. And I talked to Ehab about it. I called him like on Friday morning and said, Ehab, there's this deal, and it looks like it's probably going to be a complete gut. We looked at it online, looked at the square footage. And he, the cool thing about his program, and I'm giving a lot of plugs to his program because it's so awesome. The cool thing about his program is he opens up this dream team of people, general contractors, bankers, lenders like yourself, right? Electricians,
he gives you
architects.
a team.
He gives you a team that it would normally take me 1, 2, 3 years to build.
Yes.
You have it day one. And
the relationship's already there because of the fact that, hey, Ehab, he's already kind of blessed off. Hey,
he's vetted these people,
yeah,
right? So I didn't have to worry about the general contractor stealing from me, or just trying to get over on me, whatever it might be. So I felt like, okay, great, I can check that box, and it's a huge load off your shoulders, especially as a new investor. right? Because that's one thing that I was fearful of, even talking to this wholesaler. Is this guy trying to scam me? Because I didn't know, it's my first time. And but I got over that fear and reached out to the guy. He was going to have an open house that Saturday for investors because it was tenant occupied, so he had to plan it out. I called Ehab Friday morning, told him about the property, and we talked about it. And he goes, we came up with some rough numbers. He goes, this is a full gut. This is how much it's probably going to cost you. You need to build this garage in the back. I think I had talked to you about that too. You or Mark about it. Like it needs to have off-street parking. I was like, okay, we'll add it all up. And he goes, and Chris, the general contractor, I've already talked to him about this deal. He's going to do it for you.
Okay.
So I'm like, great. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to the open house on Saturday and see what it's about. Because remember, the guy only posted one photo, and Ehab goes, Alberto, he goes, what are you gonna see in this open house that's going to change your mind?
Change your mind.
He goes, we're redoing everything: the roof, the foundation, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. You're building a garage in the backyard. Like, what are you going to see? You know what your budget's going to be. You've done the calculations. He provided us this worksheet to put it all in there and analyze it. You know what this is going to bring back for you. And even if it doesn't bring all that back, it's going to, you got a big cushion here, this big buffer. The profit margin is huge. He goes, don't wait.
Make your offer.
Call this guy right now and make your offer. I'm like, oh man, okay. Literally, the adrenaline is pumping. My heart is racing because I had made some offers through the MLS, through agents, right? But this was the first time I was calling a wholesaler and ready to make him an offer. And it was for sale for $78,000. I was ready to offer this guy $82,000 because I had gotten an offer rejected through a wholesaler that I had met in person. And it was at an open house. And I texted him my offer. I didn't want to call him. I texted him my offer. He said it's too low, and they accepted something else. So my plan was to go above what this guy was asking. So I called the guy. His name's Ramon. Awesome guy, man. I called him up, and he thought I was going to ask him questions about the house. I said, Ramon, then this is a big thing. Ehab said, call the guy, make your offer, and then be quiet. He goes, stop talking. Let him talk.
We just talked about that this morning in our training. Yeah. Alex is watching. I know you've met Alex. Yeah. We just talked about this to our new loan officers in the morning. Tell them something, and then whoever talks first loses. It works.
Yeah.
So, especially like when they're saying, well, what are your rates? Well, I'll say, my big comeback, I said, are you more interested in rates, or are you more interested in building a relationship with a lender? And I shut up. Whoever talks first loses.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. But I mean, that's funny because we just talked about that with our new loan officers this morning.
Yeah.
Because the new guys are always wanting to talk. You got to listen. You got to figure out what the problem is, and figure out what they want, and figure out, hey, I'm here to solve your problem, but I need to know what the problem is to solve. So go ahead.
And it's like Ehab already knew me because he knew I like to talk. And my wife, she can attest to this. Like, I've almost killed a deal on the truck that I had gotten a few years ago. She goes, let me do the negotiation, baby. And I'm like, all right. She goes, because you talk too much. You're going to give away all our stuff. So anyways, I called Ramon, and I said, Ramon, I don't want to wait until Saturday. I said, I'm ready. I can offer you right now $78,000 right now. I don't even have to look at the property. And so I was quiet, and I could literally hear the guy breathing in the phone, thinking, and he's going, and he's just quiet too. And I think he's waiting for me to say something. And then he just says, all right, I can do that. And I'm like, okay, what do I do next? And he goes, just send your check over, run your check over to the title company. When I get notification that it's received, I'll send you over the assignment contract, and we'll move forward from there. And so that was the first deal, man. I was just really, really excited. It took a little bit longer to close on that property because we had to get the tenant out before we closed. So that took a couple months.
So you changed your mindset, changed the way you thought, made an offer, didn't speak, and it happened.
Yeah. I mean, and that's from a guy who's been working in IT for 25 years, right? was okay at managing money, but didn't have a ton of savings. I got my 401ks and stuff like that, but I don't trust that I'm going to have enough in there when I retire. And so, yeah, you're right. Build all those things in order to make a phone call. I hate talking to people on the phone. I mean, still to this day, I don't like making cold calls. I don't. Yeah. I mean, it's just.
Believe it or not, I don't mind talking to people on the phone. I hate texting. I hate it. I think it's the worst thing that we've ever, because everything gets misconstrued in texting. Everything. I mean, I don't know if you ever watched Key and Peele. Have you ever watched
that? Oh, yeah. Yes. I know what skit you're talking about.
You know what skit I'm talking about?
The other guy's happy, doesn't he?
What do you mean you don't want to? I guess it's okay. What?
Yeah.
This guy. Anyway, everything gets misconstrued during texting. I'm not, the older I've gotten, the more I hate talking on the phone. But it's an important aspect of the real estate industry. I mean, you've got to build a relationship. I'm more of a face-to-face type person. I love to build those relationships because nobody can genuinely see who you are over a phone call.
Right.
That's why we do these. You know, that way people get to know you. Somebody may call you today and say, Alberto, I've got a deal for you. You know?
Yeah, no, I hope they do, because we're always looking for deals. But it's mainly talking to strangers and doing those phone calls. If people call me and they want to talk about real estate, or they preface it with that, oh yeah, I'll talk to them all day about real estate. I'll meet people and talk to them about real estate. I'm very comfortable with that. So that was the first deal, Rob. And by that time, you and I had, we made the transition from Mar to you, and we started to solidify our relationship, and we were setting expectations with each other. Mm-hmm. And from that point forward, we had that deal in October. We were set to close October 17th. Mm-hmm. And again, I was also sending out mailers to people in pre-foreclosure, and I got another deal under contract in October.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, how am I going to do this? And with hard money, because of this.
You called me. You said, hey, right? You said, Rob, can I do another deal? I'm like, sure.
Yes.
Why not?
Why not? I'm like, okay. And the purchase price was good. The renovation budget was good. The ARV came back where we needed it to be. And you guys funded that whole deal. Like
100%.
100%. That second deal, we closed on the first one, October 17th. We literally closed on the second one.
So here's a live testimonial to y'all. He's done several for me, but here's a live testimonial for y'all. The Jet Lending will fund 100% of your investment property if it fits.
If it fits, right. We brought $1,000 to close it. That was insurance.
That's a lot of money.
We basically bought a house, right, for $1,000, and I mean, it was in rough shape. Don't get me wrong. We didn't, it was in really, really rough shape. We actually gave the seller an additional $10,000 in their pocket, mm-hmm. and we got them out of, prevented foreclosure on their credit. Mm-hmm. So everybody won in that one. And that's the kind of solutions that we try to find with people. Is it has to be a win-win.
For everybody.
For everybody, for us, them, and maybe their bank if they still have, a mortgage. And if it doesn't work that way, then, there
was a guy called me yesterday, New Bronzeville property. A guy called me yesterday. He said his proposed ARV was 275. This happened like 3 times yesterday. I think anyway, the guy called me and said, hey, 275. I called him and I said, I want to get to your 275 number. I really do, but I'm seeing it low 200s at max, maybe a little bit more, push more. He said, well, the realtor told me that it was 275. I was like, I tell you what, I'm going to send you my comps that I pulled. And then you go back to your realtor and say, hey, can you send me comps that support this? All the comps that the realtor sent were bigger in square footage, 15 to 1,700 square foot. That got you to the 250, 260, 270 number. And he sent them to me. I said, you know what? I'm not trying to be a dick, but I want you to look at the comps you sent me. And I want you to point out where this gets you to. And he looked at it. He's like, you know what, Rob? You're absolutely right. All right. And he said, I guess I'm going to have to kill this transaction because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And he said, I apologize for wasting your time. And I told him, I said, stop. You're not wasting my time. It's my job to protect you so that you don't make a mistake and go down the road and we order an appraisal and you think you're at 275 when you're actually 200, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah,
That's $75,000.
that's a big jump, man.
That's a big jump.
And then again, I sing your praises for that, because it's awesome to have somebody in your corner that can rerun and re-verify your numbers. You know, especially for new investors like us.
Mhm.
And I've got my numbers, and I've gotten a lot better at running my comps and coming back with an ARV. Usually, I'm only about a few $1,000s off from.
I would say you're pretty spot on now.
Yeah, pretty spot on. And what's been helpful, though, well, let me backtrack. Talking about ARVs,
Mhm.
right? And investors bringing you something and saying, well, the ARV's here. So let me tell you about our deal in Texas City.
Yeah.
And that was a rough one. And that's the cool thing about being a real estate investor and changing your mindset is you run into an obstacle or problem, you can either quit, right? And this is too hard, I don't want to do it. Like, I lost money, or this isn't going to work, or you work to find a solution.
Yep.
So with Texas City, it was a big house, about 1,900 square feet, maybe a little bit more, in rough shape. And I thought the ARV was about 200, 210. Sent it to you. You thought it was about 200, 210.
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, cool. This is a good deal. We got it under contract. I think it was listed for 120. We got it under contract for 85, or actually for about 95 is what we had it under contract for. And your appraiser came through, and your appraiser made a keen observation that we overlooked. He said, all of the comps in this area are on slab foundations. This particular house is on pier and beam.
And we missed that.
And so he came back with his appraisal was about $25,000 less than what we had. It was like 176. And instead of,
I'm not going to interrupt you, but I have to. If you're watching this, you think that appraisals are not important?
Yeah, super important. And again, it came back, and you were like, let me help you here. Go back to the seller. Let's see if you can renegotiate a little bit further down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit difficult to renegotiate with a seller
once you have
a contract and they know you're a cash buyer.
Yeah.
Because to them, cash buyers don't have appraisals. Most cash buyers don't use an appraisal. They're ready to just pay that and ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I renegotiated with her and got them down to 85. And even at that point, we would still have to come out of pocket about 20K.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the super important thing about having reserves and having your backup, right? And you guys verify those reserves and you have backup is when you come into a problem like this,
mm-hmm.
is you do have some options. And by this time, right, we've already done 3 deals by this time. Actually, we've done 2 deals by this time. This is our 3rd deal. And we had some cash reserves. We sold the Galveston property. We had a lot of money in the bank. We're like, you know what? I think this is still a good deal, because in my mind, I'm like, we're going to either rent this out or we're going to rehab the hell out of this house, and we're going to get a higher ARV. Like, that was our goal. Again, it's not gambling. I just knew what we could do.
Aren't you closing on that today?
We close on that today, yes, at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, wait till you hear the final numbers on this thing. And again, it's no knock on you guys, because we were able to sell it for a lot more,
mm-hmm.
because you're doing your due diligence, not just to protect Jet Lending, but to protect me,
mm-hmm.
and to make sure we're making a good decision. Because you don't want to see us back into a corner, and then worst case, we can't pay you. Y'all got to foreclose, and now you own this house. It's just this messy.
Yeah.
Right. And
nobody wants
messy.
We want to protect you. We want to help you. We want to grow your business. We want to grow your wealth.
Right.
So,
and that's the relationship that we have, and I appreciate it so much. I mean, it's come back in spades. Like, it's paid off. Anyway, so we get the house, we start doing the rehab, and kind of a nightmare story with the general contractor. That's for another podcast. But at the end of the day, we found, my wife just got her agent license, real estate agent license, and this was her first listing, and we got a cash offer.
Mm-hmm.
We got a cash offer for full list, which was about $244,500.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, the ARV was at 176.
Mm-hmm.
So we renovated this thing to the nines. Redid everything. We added some square footage too, which also improved that ARV, because that's something we didn't have in the beginning. And we close on it. We close on it today. We had a 10-day closing,
mm-hmm.
just so we can not have to pay another interest payment. So we got that done. We're closing on the 10th, and we're making probably about $40,000 or $50,000. That's
See?
after taxes. After taxes. After.
This is what I tell everybody. The data supports this. That doesn't mean you can't go in and reinvent the wheel once we close. Okay, yeah, you may bring a little bit more to closing up front, but if you can make it back on the back end, get your money back and make money on the back end and still net positive $45,000, you're the investor. You made decisions to say, you know what, this is an obstacle, but I've got this plan to overcome this obstacle. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then I'm going to sell it for whatever I can on the back end. That's 100% the way investment should work, or a way an investor should work. Not relying on the fact that, you know, oh well, it only appraised for 175, and I guess that's all I can sell it for. You know, well, this deal's not going to work. Yeah. No, figure it out.
Right. And
don't let a deal just die because of the fact that, you know, an appraisal comes in for a certain value. That's, you know, that's to protect you. That's not to say that you can't change your game plan midstream after it closes and say, I'm going to add a little square footage. I've got reserves. I'm going to put a little bit of my love into this. And then I'm going to take this project and I'm going to turn it from this to this, and I'm going to make, you know, 250, 245 on it, and sell it at that point. And you're literally killed it.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. And, you know, with this particular property, we went through several exit strategies through the entire process. First, we were going to keep it, and then we were going to sell it, you know, to my son at cost. And then some things changed financially there. So we were actually going to move into the house and rent out our primary residence. Then it got to the point where, okay, let's rent it out, let's refinance it, but our costs just kind of kept going up with this contractor. And it got to the point where, like, you know what, we have a lot tied up here. And Rose was helping us out with doing some other comps as well. And the market improved over that time, you know, and we went well above, we listed it well above our bottom line number. Because every person that kind of sells their house, at least for us, we've sold several, they have a number that they just want to get. It's not even a number that you need to get. I mean, people have a need to be number, right? They got to pay off the mortgage and things like that, right? If there is one, or pay off the loan. But there's like, this is what we would like, right? To compensate us for the stress, you know, the blood, the sweat, the tears that you put into the project. We had that bottom line number, and we sold it well above that, you know, and you know, we benefited from a hot market. Great. The renovation turned out beautiful. We had a few little things that we had to do after inspection, but not a big deal. And we're closing today. And I'm going to cash this check today. And that's going to help accelerate our financial goals that we have by about 5 months. And we're moving everything up by 5 months because of this particular project. And none of that's possible without real estate, in my opinion. Like, real estate to me is the quickest way to become financially independent. We talked about that earlier. Do what you want with whoever you want, whenever you want, right?
Yes.
And wherever. That's being truly financially free.
Yeah. And it takes a great team to get you there. I mean, even for new people, you've got to learn that, hey, you don't have to be by yourself. You don't have to figure this all out by yourself. There's a team that we're building at Jet Lending. There's a team that's building at a good title company. There's a team that you're building at, you know, having a good mentor, or having somebody check your numbers, or anything like that. And you're not alone in this. So anybody that's out there that's watching this that feels like, hey, I'm brand new, I feel like I need to figure this out. Well, call us. We'll help you out. Call him. He'll help you.
Yes.
I mean, heck, you're helping a young lady right now. She's what, 18 years old?
18 years old, yeah.
18 years old, and she friends with him, and he's helping her. I mean, just think about if she starts accomplishing some of the things she wants to accomplish. Heck, by the time she's 30, she can just, I'm done.
I'm done.
Done.
Just do what you want. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about real estate, about relationships. And that's the thing. It's real estate, in my opinion, is a lot about relationships, like we've talked about in this podcast. if you don't build these relationships, you will eventually find yourself like on an island,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh,
By
woe,
yourself.
you know, and pity, woe is me. This doesn't work. You know, I failed, right? Get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
Reaching out to people, creating these relationships with lenders, with title companies, with architects, with general contractors. But also, don't be afraid to fail, right? Or don't be afraid to make mistakes, right?
I failed. I have failed miserably when I first started out.
Yeah.
There was times where I would talk people out of a loan. I'm like, and then eventually I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I would literally look at the numbers, and in my mind, it was too much money. But who am I to make their financial decision for them?
Right.
And now, if it's a crazy number, but we're talking about $18,000 out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny's like, what are you doing? That's my brother-in-law. He said, that's not your decision. He said, you got to stop. And Alex would say the same thing. He said, you got to stop giving them that much information about the loan. He's like, present the numbers. Let them make the decision. If they ask your opinion, then you give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to look, and we've got this thing that Alex created as a deal analyzer that'll tell, like, when I'm talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit there and punch some numbers in, and it automatically boom, 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 boom. It tells me a number that you're going to make. If that number is greater than 20%, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now, if they ask me, well, what do you think I'm going to make? Well, I'll tell you exactly. I think you're going to make, 18, 19%, because it automatically calculates it for us.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you paid yourself back and you can make $30,000, would you want to do this deal, even if you're $20,000 out of pocket at closing? Well, heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to pay myself back and make $30,000. That's gross 50,000 back in my pocket, net 30. Why wouldn't you do that deal?
Yeah. That and I have an analyzer like that too. Actually, EHAB provides one of the. I keep bringing him into this conversation. I know you said this was about me, but he's just been a huge part of our journey.
He has. He's been a huge part of my journey.
Yeah.
He's helped me change my mindset on several occasions. There's times when I had bad attitudes, through the growth of me at Jet Lending. And he's like, why do you have a bad attitude? He's like, and I said, I don't know. He's like, well, maybe you need to think of it like this, do. And I'm like, I never thought about that. He's like, provide, you're providing a service. He's helped me grow.
Mm-hmm.
Alex has helped me grow. Johnny, Eddie, having people around you that are successful is not a bad thing.
No,
it's not a bad thing.
That's a recipe to level up.
Yeah.
Right. When you're in a room with successful people that are levels or even light years above where you are,
mm-hmm.
right? That's not putting you down. It's just you have something to achieve or
to strive to get to.
Exactly.
There's several people out there that says don't go down to get them, make them come up to get to your level.
Yeah,
that's good. Because if you go back down, you're back down on their level.
Mm-hmm.
But make them come up to you,
mm-hmm.
Which is very important in growing yourself, growing your business, growing your life, growing your faith, growing everything. You've got to realize that everybody is not going to get it through their head. It's like fitness. Fitness is one of the biggest things that I relate to real estate.
Me too.
It is. You either have to put in the work and figure out what works for your own body, for your own style, whatever, to figure out, hey, I've got to do this, this, and this for me to be able to make these gains or these weight loss journey or whatever. It's the same thing with real estate. You've got to figure out, what do I have to do to get to his level?
Yep.
And you can sit there and talk to people all day long, and because how people, you lost so much weight, or you look really good. What did you do to get there? And I'll say, do you really want to know? Or are you just going to nod your head?
Yeah.
I was like, because I'm not going to waste my breath telling you what I did if you're not going to actually put it into practice. And they're like, oh. I was like, so you didn't really want to know?
takes a lot of hard work.
It takes a lot of hard work. I was like, I'm willing to sit down and tell you what I did, but you've got to commit to wanting to do this. And there's a lot of people out there that they just want to hear what you did, but they're not going to put it in practice.
No, they just want to hear a good story.
They just want to hear a good story. Oh man, that's great. Well, but what are you going to do? Oh, I don't know.
Go back and watch Dancing with the Stars.
I'm going to go watch Dancing with the Stars and eat a Twinkie.
No, no, I agree with you 100%, Rob. It's fitness, and I mean, I've run ultra marathons. I've done adventure races that have taken multiple days to complete with no sleep, where you have to provide all of your gear, all of your food. Like I literally had iodine tabs to drop in my water to clean the stream water that I was drinking, and that builds this like mental grit, you know what I mean? And I have utilized that in this real estate journey.
There's a ruck march in Germany. It's called Nijmegen. It's a 100-mile ruck march, 25 miles a day, 4 days.
Wow.
At the end of each day, it's a party. And at the end of the fourth day, you're like, it's like the big party. So
if you can walk,
if you can walk, I did it one time, and like, I mean, you got to control yourself, because everybody's like, oh yeah, you got people from all different armies all over the world. They come to do this ruck march, and like 25 miles a day, you're like, oh, that's nothing. I mean, you got to have a certain weight on,
right?
But you can wear what you want to. Typically you can wear shorts or boots or whatever, but the weight's got to be the same. And we did a team that did it, and I'm gonna tell you, that was some of you're having fun because you're talking crap the whole time, and everybody's the Germans, you'll race and have it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of bonding too.
Yeah, it's a lot of bonding. But the whole at the end of it, you're like, man, that was painful. Each day it was painful. But at the end of it, you're like, I did it.
Right.
I did it.
Yeah.
And those are feats that some people will never accomplish.
No.
And it's all about the mindset, because I was fearful going into it. I was just like, man, 100 miles, that's a long way over 4 days. With a pack. And I mean, 12 miles is a long ways with a pack.
Yeah.
And the military standards is a 12-mile ruck march you have to do it once a year.
And how heavy was your pack normally?
It has to be 40 pounds.
Okay.
40 pounds. And so you do a 12-mile in under 4 hours.
Right.
That is the standard. Okay. For air assault standards, it's under 3 hours. So, I mean, there's times when you have to be sprinting with that 40-pound ruck. I mean, and you're just like, getting that done is no pleasure, but at the end of it, you're like, okay, I got it done.
Yeah.
But the mindset and the fearfulness going into it is like, hey, can I do this? It's not can you do it. It's I'm fixing to do this. I'm fixing to knock this out.
Yeah. You do what it takes.
You do what it takes.
You do what it takes, just like real estate.
So let's get up to let's talk. Let's kind of end on this note. How many deals have you done so far in 1 year?
In 1 year. So we've completed 5 transactions that have brought money into our account.
Okay. You've done a wholesale deal?
Yeah. So the first one was a flip, right? And we got 100% return on that.
Okay.
The second one was a buy and hold. That's a rental.
Okay.
And we're receiving about 72% cash on cash return on that one.
Okay.
And we're cash flowing about $520 a month.
It's not bad.
Not for a single family. That's not bad at all.
Not bad.
The third one is this Texas City house that we're flipping, and we're making about a 50% return.
Okay.
So you can imagine what we had in the deal. If I'm telling you, we made $40,000. So we
Okay.
had a lot of money in that deal. Anyways, that's a 50% return. Our fourth deal was a wholesale deal, and that was a house that was built out of cinder block. The interior walls were cinder block. Everything was cinder block. We got that house, and we made a very, very fine assignment fee on that one.
Okay.
And then our fifth deal is the house that we have right now in Galveston, and we're going to renovate that and hold on to it as an Airbnb.
Okay.
In Galveston, and it's an older home. needs a ton of work, and I'm pretty sure all the investors that walked through that house just turned away. It's got foundation problems. I mean, there's the walls aren't plumb. You know, I'm working through the permit process right now in Galveston on that one, so I'm hoping that kind of gets approved today. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks, providing all the documentation that they want, and then we'll get started on that. The contractor I'm using there says he can get done in about a month and a half.
Okay.
So that's our 5th deal, and we started on this. I mean, we closed on our first deal in October of last year, so really less than a year. And we're still looking for deals. We're looking to partner with people. You know, you mentioned the young lady earlier. Her and her mom, they're working together too. We're looking to partner with them. We have other friends that want to partner with us too. You know, they kind of see our success, right? And as you put this track record out there, you have more and more people say, "How are you doing that?" Like, you know, can we kind of get in on some deals? And we're open to everything.
Yeah,
if it makes sense. And because I think that, you know, there's enough for everybody to eat. There's more than enough for everyone.
Oh yeah, especially from in this Houston area, and it's awesome. Somebody just, I don't know who this is, but they said congratulations to you and Julia.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we're just of that abundance mindset. You know, that there's more than enough for everybody, and whether it comes to real estate, or if it comes to knowledge sharing, resource sharing, you know, I'm there.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I know we got a class to teach here in a minute.
We have a class to teach, right?
We're transitioning from this to a Zoom call. So we're fixing to have to cut this a little short so we can prepare for that. But guys, this guy's been successful 1 year and he's killing it. If you want to know how, it's Heather. It's Heather.
Awesome.
Hey, Heather, how are you? But anyways, as we were saying, if you want to know how to be, she's one of Ehab's mentees as well.
Mm-hmm. She's killing it too.
Yeah. This new property. Have you been to that?
I haven't, but Julie and I need to go.
We did a flyby.
Yeah, I saw that. It just looks really good.
Yeah, it's going to look awesome. It's going to look amazing, and she's going to cash flow out the yin on that.
I'm kind of jealous, but you know, man, she's doing so great.
Guys, build your team. Build relationships, build everything to where it makes sense for you. Gent Lending's always got your back. Alberto, he's killing it. He's helping people. If you need his information, you can call, text me, and I'll definitely get you in touch with him. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Man, thanks for having me.
It's been an awesome 45 minutes. Next week we will have Chris Bounds. He's coming on the show.
Yeah,
have you
I haven't met him, but I've seen a lot of his videos, and I get a lot of his.
He's got the right mindset.
Yeah,
He's a health and fitness guy too.
Awesome.
Yeah, he does powerlifting.
Cool. Yeah, I want to see that one.
He's coming on the show next week. Tried to schedule it, but Facebook won't let me schedule, so I have to schedule it tomorrow. Try to get these out earlier so everybody's got notification. But guys, thank y'all for watching. We will see y'all again next week. If y'all need anything, my number is 903-806-4400. Tell me your number.
My number is 409-789-1456.
Okay, guys, that's it for this week's Trigger Point. Remember, stronger together. We're out here.